Nationally ranked no more, it's been a tough weekend for field hockey with 2 back-to-back losses. Coming up next on OwlSports Update.
Plus, sisterhood. We'll showcase a set of twins for women's soccer and a change of leadership among sisters for women's tennis.
And I'm Jake Holzhauer, live from Edberg-Olsen Hall. Homecoming is this weekend, and I'll dive into what the Owls need to do in order to prepare for the Roadrunners coming to the link this Saturday.
Hello and welcome inside the TV3 studios. Alongside Michael Mirville, I'm Dave Podolsky. It's homecoming Saturday and it couldn't come at a better time.
The Owls are looking for win number 1 in the AAC after last week's blowout loss to Tulsa. This time, it's the Roadrunners of UTSA.
For more insight on Saturday's matchup against the Roadrunners, we've got you covered. Owl Sports Updates, Jake Holzhauer is live at the Edberg-Olsen Hall with more. Hey, Jake.
Thanks, guys. This Saturday, Temple has a big game against the UTSA Roadrunners, who are making their debut in the AAC. Both teams have 8 turnovers in the past 4 games. Most likely, whoever wins the turnover battle will come out on top this Saturday.
Temple 5 of 7 on third downs. Warner picked off.
It's hard to win a football game when you turn the ball over, and that's been a theme for the Owls. In 5 games so far this year, Temple has lost a turnover battle 4 times. Against Tulsa, the issue was on display. The Owls turned the ball over twice on back-to-back drives in the second quarter. This compared to 0 turnovers for the Golden Hurricane.
This Saturday is a great opportunity for Temple to fix their problems with holding onto the ball. First, they are home, and it is homecoming, where the largest crowd of the season is expected to be on hand. The main focus should be to win the turnover battle.
But come this Saturday, Temple won't be the only team on the field with this issue. UTSA has coughed up the ball 8 times compared to Temple's 9 times. So it's no wonder the Roadrunners are 1-3 on the year.
Can't throw it to the other team. We did it on back-to-back consecutive drives against Houston.
For UTSA, it will be the team's first American Conference matchup in program history, and the Roadrunners are expecting to live up to expectations, something that they haven't done so far this year.
We're not being disruptive, so we can all talk about how good we are and all this we were supposed to be, but it hasn't showed up yet.
Again, handoff goes to Robert.
The Roadrunners are one of the few teams who have not forced a turnover on defense this season. So if Temple wants to win, they need to hold on to the ball and capitalize on the turnovers forced by their defense. I am Jake Holzhauer reporting live from Edberg-Olsen Hall. Now back to the anchors at the desk.
The Owls lost their turnover battle against Tulsa, and that was just one of the many problems in last Thursday's game. The Golden Hurricane put up an offensive barrage, totaling 533 yards and 6 touchdowns by the time the final buzzer went off. The Owls start off their conference play against Tulsa at Chapman Stadium. Temple, after its first drive, put 3 points on the board with a field goal. Temple scoring next after this 10-yarder by Marquis Shoulders, and they never looked back. In the second, now down by 11, E.J. Warner is picked off by Chase Oliver. This is Warner's 5th interception of the season. Off the run by Darvin Hubbard, another turnover by Temple. This time, a fumble recovered by Tulsa. Now a 3-touchdown game in the third. Returner Sam Martin runs down the field for 95 yards. Unattended, he scores the first touchdown for Temple. Now Tulsa running back Anthony Watkins rushes up the left for 6 to put this game out of reach for the Owls with 7 points. Now in the fourth and final quarter, Temple runs up a 40-yarder and scores their 5th touchdown of the game. Temple scores 1 more touchdown and converts 2 to finish off the game. However, it's not enough as they fall 26-48 in his first conference game against Tulsa.
We just gotta stay together, keep working, and play as a team. We got to play as a team. Offense can't be going, defense can't be going. We all got to be going on all sides of the ball. I mean, not at all. I mean, it's everything. The line, it's us, it's everybody. We got to fix it. We got to get it done. I mean, each and every day he got something different for us, like pass protections, when to make our cuts, how to stay tight to the hole, what we're reading. Each and every day he helping us and telling us different things to get better and better our game. We just it just got executed to like a T. You got Colin Green kicking out, and then Sadie Edwards and Hub just leading the way, and I was just like ran behind them, and then the whole kickoff return unit did a great job of getting at blocks and getting good leverage on that blocks, and then I just ran after that.
Temple's loss to Tulsa marked the 4th consecutive loss for Stan Drayton's team in conference play dating back to last season. Temple will need to win at least 4 of their final 7 games to become bowl eligible.
For more insight on Temple football, Inside the Nets reporter Sam Covone joins us in the studio. Thanks for joining us, Sam.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Well, let's get right to it. Tulsa's offense totaled 533 yards against the Owls, a stat which I'm sure Coach Drayton is looking at and is emphasizing as a big area of concern. How was Tulsa able to move the chains against this Owls defense so easily throughout the game?
I mean, Tulsa's offensive line just left the Owls completely vulnerable. We saw that in the obvious lack of tackles and big plays, and this is mostly in part to Yvonne Rigby being out of this game. Now, Temple let the Golden Hurricane score on 3 drives of 5 in the first half, and then of 5 of 8 in the second half. Temple's best players got beaten due to Tulsa just being stronger, faster, and bigger.
One major deficit for the Owls on Thursday was definitely in their rushing attack. The team only ran the ball 21 times for all of 44 yards. That simply won't get it done. The Owls are second to last in the AAC in rushing. Who needs to step up this weekend for Temple to turn that trend around?
So we know with this Temple team that there is no run game without a pass game and vice versa. In my opinion, we definitely need to see more from Joquez Smith, who showed out against Norfolk State. But also, we need to see Edward Sadie, David Martin Robinson, and Zay Baines. They need to take over and get down the field to score, especially since Temple is without key players like Ahmad Anderson Jr. and Dante Wright. Also, the defense needs to force these turnovers. They need to get the ball back on Temple's side with good ball positioning at any means necessary.
Well, I agree with Temple's defense needing to turn up the amount of turnovers to open up opportunities for the offense to score. Moving on to UTSA, their quarterback, Owen McCohen, is starting for the first time for the Roadrunners, with their starter being injured. How does the Owls defense adjust to this?
So last week against Tennessee, McCohen was put in after the first half, and he completed 18 out of 20 passes for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Owls need to take control in the first half. They need to play 4 full quarters of football like Stan Drayton has been repeating. They need to make McCohen vulnerable in the pocket, and Tywan Francis, Jordan McGee, and Alex Odom, who lead the team in tackles, need to step up and help with that.
You know, UTSA was ranked last season, but after a tougher schedule since they joined the American, that's led to them having a 1-3 start. Is UTSA maybe not as tough of an opponent as we thought when we came into the season?
Now, we cannot count anyone out because we saw how Rutgers and Tulsa played out. We all thought that Temple would have an even matchup against those teams, and they did not. So Temple now has to act like every team and every game is the hardest game and hardest team that they are playing this season. Now, as mentioned, this Saturday, the Owls return home to the Nest for homecoming. Temple versus UTSA kicks off at 2 p.m. and is also available to watch at home on ESPN+. Before the game, fans are invited to attend the biggest tailgate of the season at Tailgate Village, which is hosted by the Temple University Alumni Association. There will be live music, entertainment, and performances from the marching bands and spirit squads. This is a free event, and it will take place in Lot K of Lincoln Financial Field from 10 a.m. until the game begins. Now, Temple hopes to bounce back from its homecoming loss last year against Rutgers, where they were defeated by the Scarlet Knights 16-14. That's all the Temple football coverage I have for right now. Reporting from the studio set, I'm Sam Covone. Danny and Michael, back to you at the desk.
That brings us to the first break of our show. When we return, our own Owen Hill will give us the inside scoop on field hockey and preview the rest of this fall season.
Stay right here. OwlSports Update will be back after this short break. The Owls hosting number 9 ranked Eagles of Liberty at the Temple Sports Complex on Friday. 2 minutes left in the first quarter, the Eagles get on the board. Martin Chu gets this shot past the Temple defense. That's her 4th goal of the season. In the second, this shot from Liberty hits the post, but Lexi Hostler is there for the rebound. She gets this shot past Temple goalie Molly Fry to put her team in front 2-0. Liberty is just too much for the Owls. They fall by a final score 3-0.
Temple field hockey has gutted out 6 wins in 11 games so far this season in a tough Big East conference. We now toss to OwlSports Update Owen Hill to explain what lies ahead. Hey, Owen.
Hey, Michael. A national ranking and a 3-game losing streak. It's been an inconsistent year for the Owls. That's included 2 losses over the weekend, but there's still plenty of time for Temple to find its footing.
It's been a little bit. The best of times and a little bit of the worst of times for the Temple field hockey team. A national ranking, followed by a current 3-game losing streak. But at 6-5 overall, the Owls are still very much looking at this season as the cup is half full.
We have great players, and I think as long as we're able to work together, that's going to be really good for us.
The Owls have had major changes in the offseason, and with that, there's a nice mix of experience. 9 seniors or grad students, along with 7 freshmen.
But for the most part, like every single game that we've played, they definitely performed to their potential at some point throughout. I think it's a matter of putting 60 minutes together, which sometimes does take a team, a full season to get there.
Temple was currently ranked 19th in the NFHCA polls. This is the highest ranking the Owls have seen since being number 16 in 2014.
Well, right now we just want to improve every game. Obviously, we want to win all our conference games. We want to get to the Big East. And I think for all the non-conference games, we just want to win them and perform very well so we can learn from them and so we can do better in our actual conference games.
Temple is currently about halfway through its regular season. The Owls hope to continue its momentum into the upcoming conference play, ultimately aiming to make the Big East tournament in early November.
Our biggest factor is going to be confidence in our ability, because I know for a fact that we're able to do it and we're able to be great and have success. We just need to believe it ourselves.
And now is as good as a time as ever. The Owls' next 2 games are against Providence and Georgetown, the only 2 winless teams in the Big East.
Temple has 7 remaining games on the board, 4 of those being conference matchups. The Owls have 2 Big East games within the next 2 weeks. To start, Temple travels up to Rhode Island, taking on Providence this Friday. 1 week later, they take a trip to the nation's capital, facing off against Georgetown. Both the Hoyas and the Friars are 0-3 in conference play so far. This is a huge opportunity for the Owls to pick up some much-needed Big East wins. Temple finishes up its road trip, taking on non-conference Delaware at home, as well as a tough Big East team, Villanova. We'll see if Temple has what it takes to get its season back on track and get back into the national conversation with a possible top ranking. Reporting from the studio set, I'm Owen Hill. Guys, back to you on the desk.
Temple played one of its toughest conference matches this season against Tulane at McGonigal Hall. Coming in, both teams were in need of a conference win, and the Owls come in hot with a spike down the middle from graduate student Olivia Vance. Vance finished 3rd for the Owls in kills with 13. Temple had 3 players total in the match with double kills. Tulane just does not go away, besting Temple in an important 4th set to tie the match at 2 apiece. Temple serving now to put another point on the board. Temple gutted out a win in its 5th set to earn the victory over Tulane 3-2. Temple is now 2-2 in the conference. We are headed to break, but when we come back, we will look at women's tennis and how one sister stepped up into her older sister's former role.
Don't go anywhere. OwlSports Update will be back in 90 seconds. Welcome back. Temple women's tennis looks to be extremely strong on paper heading into the season. 2 of their top players, Maiko Uchijima and Vinitha Mumadi, are currently on the mend. But at full strength, this team has legitimate aspirations at cracking the top 75 rankings nationally. One player in particular has stepped up as a leader so far in this fall season as she takes the role of her older sibling.
Jamie Way had been the face of Temple women's tennis, but after graduating last season, the leadership changed, even though the last name didn't. Evie Way is Jamie's younger sister, and her resume is just as strong. Evie is a 2022 Scholar athlete, and she was ranked as high as number 55 in one national poll, along with her doubles partner Veronica Kolhava last February. This ranking came thanks to a 16-2 record, the most doubles win in a single season in program history. With Evie stepping out of her sister's shadows in this her senior season, she's taken on the same leadership role her older sister used to have.
For this year, I'm just looking forward to be able to be the senior and to lead the team.
Her sister Jamie was very good leader, and I think Evie is doing very good as well. She's kind of similar to her sister.
Evie Y has always played a big role for Temple Tennis. With her sister Jamie now graduated, she's also stepping up as a leader. Temple has 3 new transfers and 2 incoming freshmen, and she's played a huge role in stepping up for a loaded Temple women's roster.
Despite having graduated last season, Jamie Way continues to have a role for the team. She often comes to practice where she loves to help build the culture she started as a player.
I think she's giving me a lot of advice of how I should treat my teammates, how I should lead them, and how I should communicate with our coaches.
The Way family legacy will continue to live on for the Owls. Behind Evie's new leadership role, the Owls are hoping to find success as their fall season continues.
Evie's leadership role began before the season even started. She brought in Wichita State transfer and childhood friend Jessie Zhang to the program. Zhang has also been Way's primary doubles partner throughout the fall season. The team heads out this weekend for the ITA Regionals Invitational in New York. Moving on from tennis, it's now time for our first edition of Prime Picks for the week.
Danny and I will each pick one athlete to showcase who showed out for Temple over the past 7 days before coming up with our own top Owl pick of the week. I'm going to start us off. I'm going to focus on Temple wide receiver Ahmad Anderson Jr. The 5'11 senior has been E.J. Warner's go-to pass catcher all season, and that was no exception last Thursday against Tulsa. Anderson Jr. holding 4 catches for 74 yards last week, including a 3-yard touchdown pass that kept the Owls alive in the third quarter. But while Temple ultimately lost that matchup, Anderson has been a bright spot for the team all year as he leads Temple with 25 interceptions and 372 passing yards through 5 games.
That's a really solid pick, Michael. However, I'm going to focus on the men's soccer team and showcase one player in particular. That's Felix Ewald. While the team is off to a rough start to the season, head coach Brian Green has to be intrigued by what he's seen from the sophomore. Last time we were on the set, you highlighted freshman Nikolai Zapolowski. This guy is another new addition for the Owls. The 6'2 native of Germany transferred from Division II Mississippi College before the start of the season. He scored 2 goals last night in the team's first win of the season against Florida Atlantic. Yes, the Owls are in the mix of a rebuild, but as long as Ewald continues to play at this level, he gives fans something to look forward to throughout the rest of the season.
Well, I agree with that pick. But Danny and I have our final top pick of the week, which is captain from the volleyball team, Taylor Davenport. She has been the backbone for the 11-4 Owls all season, and that continued until last week. She had 15 kills in Temple's 5-set win over Tulane on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree with that, Michael. She's been incredible for the Owls all season. The 6'1 senior is closing in on 1,000 kills for her college career. That's a mark she's well on pace to hit this season. As long as Davenport continues to play at this high of a level, Temple will be a tough opponent for anyone as conference play continues.
That will do it for this week's edition. Make sure to tune in on October 19th, where Danny and I will be right here on the set with another edition of Prime Picks.
That's right. We're up against our final break of the show, but don't go anywhere. When we return, we'll take a look at men's and women's soccer teams, including a set of twins on the women's side. OwlSportsUpdate will be back in just 90 seconds. We are back with a battle of the Owls. Temple hosting Florida Atlantic, coming in winless through 8 games. The team desperately needs to get off to a hot start in the game. They got just that. Aaron Markowitz puts in a tidy finish to the bottom left corner past the FAU defense as Temple takes an early 1-0 lead. Goalie Andrew Kemp was strong. He saves this attempt, 1 of 4 for him on the night. But the star of this game was Felix Ewald. His second goal of the game puts Temple up 3-0. In front of the net, Kemp has continued to be an X factor for the Owls, putting together his first clean sheet of the year. Men's soccer finally gets in the win column with the final score 3-0.
The Owls lost their third conference matchup against first-year AAC newcomer Charlotte 49ers this past Thursday at the Temple Sports Complex. This match included 3 shots on goal by Temple, including one from graduate student Becky Myers. Owls remained scoreless for the rest of the game. The 49ers scored in the 13th minute of the match and sat comfortably for the rest, scoring 2 more to seal the deal. Temple takes its 7th loss of the season and falls 3-0. The women's soccer team has had an endless amount of support from one another, but one player is cheering from the sidelines while watching her sister on the field. OwlSports Update's Kylie O'Connor explains.
The Temple women's soccer team is full of competitors, but the Togbas make it a personal affair. The women are twins and have been playing together as long as they can remember.
Yeah, there's always a competition, as Diana said, like if it's academically or physically, we're always...
Samaya and Ayana are always pushing each other. They've both been at Temple for 3 years, but this year is different. The twins have not played a minute together on the field this year.
Ayana is sidelined this season due to mental health issues, but she still comes to most soccer games to support her twin sister, Samaya, along with the rest of her teammates.
I'm just taking a step back from athletics just to focus on my mental and my academics. Yeah, I am a civil engineering major, so that's a little bit harder to manage with being a soccer player. But I am still being a supportive, active member on the team and still coming to practice and everything.
The competition level between these twin sisters does not stop on the soccer field, even with Ayana watching from the sidelines. While Ayana and Samaya aren't the only set of twins on the Owls soccer team, Brianna and Ariana Parker are also always there to support one another.
As Bree and Ari Parker are a big part of what we do, and so much of the stuff that happens on the field can only happen by creating a good atmosphere in the locker room. And, the closer you are to teammates and the more connected you feel.
The women's soccer team is hoping to continually improve throughout the rest of the year and get back to full strength so both sets of twins can share the field together again.
I'm Kylie O'Connor, reporting live from Temple Sports Complex.
Heading into this weekend, women's volleyball will travel to Kansas to take on Wichita State at 7 p.m. Women's lacrosse is also on the road, but the trip will be much quicker. The Owls are at LaSalle to take on the Explorers at 5:30. Field hockey will play its conference rival Providence at 3, and women's tennis will head to New York for the ITA Regional Tournament. Moving on to Saturday, football will take UTSA 2 o'clock at the Link for homecoming. Sunday's women's lacrosse is back at it. The Owls will participate in Maryland Lacrosse Playday tournament hosted by the University of Maryland, where they will take on Virginia, Maryland, and American University. All these lacrosse games this weekend are fall exhibition matches.
That's a lot. If you want to keep up with it all, we have one-stop shopping. Make sure to follow us on all socials at OwlSportsUpdate. We have our sports brief on Mondays on X, Twitter, I'm Ron Burgundy, whatever we're calling it nowadays. Give us a follow. Inside the Nest, right here on TUTV at noon on Tuesdays. And of course, our flagship show, OwlSports Update. Patty Heckard and Natalie Caranda will have the set next week right here on TUTV at noon.
That'll do it for next week's show. We hope everyone has had a great weekend.
On behalf of Michael Mirville and the rest of the studio set, I'm Dave Podolsky. Stay on the train, the scenery will change, and thank you for watching.